takes the
Hey, Matt Noren at the Community Workbench. I proudly sponsor the Community Workbench and everything that it represents for local entrepreneurs. And speaking of which, I am a local entrepreneur. I am a realtor with Remax Bell Park in Hayville, Connecticut. Fully licensed in Connecticut to do commercial, rentals, and residential. I absolutely love my job, love working with clients. So if you are in any need for a realtor, please give me a call, 860-428-6534. Your dreams are my job. Welcome to the Community Workbench. This is Matt Noren and Kyle Morrissey. We are your hosts of the #1 podcast in my basement. At the bench, we try to repair the sense of community. So every week we bring you small businesses, entrepreneurs, community leaders, and pretty much whoever we feel like talking to. And today we have the privilege of talking to Home Improvements by Brandan Longe. Brandan and his son, Jake. How are you guys?
Not bad. You, Matt?
Pretty good. You?
Good, good. So you're in the wonderful world of carpentry.
Yes.
Yep.
I can say that because I'm I got out.
Yeah.
I did my time. So Brandan, kind of tell me, a little bit about your background and how and when you decided to go out on your own.
I've always done carpentry kind of on the side, since I could remember. I did working in human services. I worked under an individual that as like facility manager for a company out of Woodstock. And I was blessed to be able to work under a guy that, showed me the ins and outs of, basic carpentry. And that job came to an end in like 2014, working in human services, and I gave manufacturing a try, which I was good at, but the same thing every day, day in, day out. I went home unhappy.
Manufacturing, like a
Spiral.
operating a machine.
Yeah,
Okay.
Spiral
Yeah.
International.
Shout out to Spiral.
Yeah, shout out.
It's not
to
for
them,
everybody,
I
but they're a
guess.
great local business.
They are a great local business. It wasn't for me. Going home kind of miserable. My wife having a side clientele in the industry of carpentry related aspects. My wife was like, why don't you just start your own company? So I said okay. Put in my 2 weeks. Got my home improvement contractor's license. It was April of 2015. So coming up on 10 years.
Nice.
As we speak. So
Yeah. So you and I met at Dunkin' Donuts in Brooklyn, the older Dunkin' Donuts in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was a funny thing. We were just standing in line. It was like big long line or whatever, and your truck was parked out front. And I'm like, you're a carpenter? And you're like, yeah.
You're a carpenter?
Yeah. Well, I play with wood every day. So, it was funny. We've just been friends ever since.
Yeah.
And then Eastwood Building Supply, great supply house.
Shipped us out to Marvin.
The Marvin window in Missouri?
Nope.
Minnesota. That's what Minnesota.
War Road, Minnesota.
Yeah, we got to see
a destination you would never plan on visiting besides for Marvin windows.
Well, it was a cool trip because we stopped at the glass company that provides their glass.
Cardinal.
And then we jumped in another
private jet,
Marvin private jet, and then landed in some extreme weather winds and stuff.
Yeah, that was a good trip.
Yeah, that was cool, and spent a full day at Marvin, and then the evening we got to go to one of the offspring of Marvin has a car collection that's like unbelievable. It's called the Shed, and he had like 400 cars in there that they gave us a full tour of.
Oldies.
Yeah.
Which we don't install anymore.
What's that? Marvin windows?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Windsor.
Yeah.
Any Matthews Brothers or any of those?
Matthews Brother
Yeah.
vinyls all
Yeah.
day, but when it comes to high-end windows, Windsor.
Windsor.
You know,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow, I'm out of it.
Yeah, Eastford no longer carries those.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think Ray told me that, or Eric told me that. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. So, Jake,
Yeah.
the son. How's that dynamic, and what's your education like for?
It's not bad. We have fun. It's more like, I mean, I enjoy what we do because we're doing something different every day. Even if we're doing 2 kitchens back to back, it's a different kitchen.
Right.
I mean, I worked summers and weekends with them growing up, and then my senior year, I actually did a work program at the Woodstock Academy. So I went to school for 2 classes, and then I got out like, I think it was like 10:30, 11. I went to work,
Yeah.
and then from there, it's just been full time.
Nice. What school did you go to?
Woodstock.
Well, you had a
Academy.
work study out of Woodstock.
Yeah, so it was pretty much I had all my credits my end of my junior year, so they allowed me senior year. It counted as a credit, and I pretty much went to work, clocked my hours, and then I had my senior privileges, which is pretty much the same thing. You can leave, do what you want for a class period. So I lined it up to where I don't know. I had like a baking class, my first class, and then I had English, and then I went to work.
Nice.
So I didn't do much my senior year except work.
Yeah. So where does that put your experience level? Like how many years?
I'm at like 6 years, I think.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say I can pretty much do your kitchen, bathroom, anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Do you get in on estimates and stuff like that too?
I go and I look at jobs sometimes. I don't really look at the pricing side of things yet. But I mean, I go take notes. If he can't make it to a quote or he needs me to go to a quote, I'll go look at a job.
Yeah. So you can
Go over
produce
with
the
customer,
material list and stuff. Yeah.
see what they want and
Yeah.
kind of give the notes back to him.
Nice.
I will ask him, on some projects, like, what do you think it should go for? Type deal.
Right.
kind
How
of-
many hours do you think? How many
yeah.
man hours?
How long do you think, it'll take us, or,
Yeah.
what do you think it's worth,
Yeah.
price wise, just to, and sometimes he's right. He's close,
Yeah.
on range.
That was one of my issues with estimating was how many man hours it was going to take to
It's
do a
terrible.
project. And sometimes you're spot on, and then sometimes you're there late at night, like
Yeah.
you're supposed to leave by now, and you're just not done yet.
Well, there's so many aspects of it.
Yeah.
You can look at it as man hours. You can look at items of jobs, based off of, so many square feet of tile, so many square feet of flooring. Then you have cabinets, and you try to look at it broken down, by square footage of items and what items go for. And then you can look at it as an overall, like, day cost, what you want the company to get, for a day,
Mhm.
and how many days it's going to take, and kind of bounce both of those in numbers together.
Right.
And still, when you send it out, it's like, is it enough?
Yeah.
Is it too much? It's not like walking into a restaurant, down the road, and you can see what your fellow person is, charging. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
a business down
yeah.
the road.
You don't advertise your price.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always tough to gauge.
it's always unknown.
Yeah, and you don't know where you are if you're bidding on a job with other carpenters involved. It's
Yeah.
always like kind of a
But I think the important thing is to make sure that you're getting what you need to cover, the cost of
Right.
you.
yeah.
Your
You got to be
crew,
able to keep
your
the doors
company.
open, the lights on, the whole bit. Keep all the saws going and stuff. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's it's not worth. Like I remember being underbid a bunch of times,
Yeah.
and sometimes it is what it is, and sometimes it's it's
not-
like you got to go and fix the underbidder's
Yeah.
problem. That's happened too.
It's not always bad to hear, you're out of our price range.
Right.
So,
Yeah. And yeah, it speaks to sometimes the quality of it or whatever, and you know your value kind of thing. So, how many employees do you have now?
it's me, Jake. I tried getting the other two mentioned, coming on board, for the podcast, but my older son, Noah, and
Yeah.
he's pretty much like my brother, Bubba. So it's me and 3 guys.
Yeah.
So,
They're probably watching now.
yeah,
could have been here talking, but-
they're likely watching. But they were interested in coming on camera. So
Yeah.
um,
And you kind of been always kind of been pretty proud that you keep most of everything in house, unless it's a license needed, like electrician.
yeah, I mean,
Plumbing.
license. We pull on our licensed electrician, our licensed plumber for projects. You had him on recently. If we can get him in, we do prefer that. Ed Peach Gold Standard Painting takes
Yeah.
care of our painting.
Yeah.
If not, we catch flack from him. For
Ed,
doing,
I can't imagine.
Yeah, we catch flack from him for doing it ourselves.
Yeah.
But
Which he runs his mouth, but if he needs me, I'll work with him on the weekends.
Yeah.
And then he gives us crap on our paint job, although he has me work for him sometimes.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, we all know Ed can't let it go back and forth without a little bit of harassment.
Nope.
yeah,
That's when you know you're friends with Ed. And do you have a preferred electrician plumber that you guys typically use?
we generally use Chaput Electric
Yeah.
out of Woodstock, or LaFleche Electric, out of Plainfield. He was out of Woodstock. He's out of Plainfield now.
Yeah.
But plumber, either Mitch LaPointe, Central Plumbing out of Plainfield, or Glenn Boy's Deep Six Plumbing out of Woodstock.
Glenn Boys, he's still kicking around, huh?
If you call him as a customer, good luck. His voicemail does say that he's not accepting new
Oh, yeah. I
new
can see that.
customers at this time. But he bounces between him and himself and sometimes another guy. But
Oh, okay. Yeah.
he will jump in and do stuff here and there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but then painting, other than that, we do kind of pride ourselves on from demo to insulation to drywall, depending on the size of it. If it's a sizable addition, I would pull in an insulation company or a drywall company. But majority of our projects are remodeling existing structures, so it's not a sizable project for insulation companies and drywall companies for it to
Right. It's
even be worth
smaller.
their
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
all the time. And the scheduling aspect of it, I'd rather just not deal with. So we will keep, drywall in-house, depending on the size of it.
Yeah.
We got a couple of us, that are pretty skilled at it. Me, Jake, Noah, Bub hates drywall.
Yeah.
he
I'm not a
doesn't-
fan.
I mean, I
myself.
hate it. Unfortunately, I got good at it.
I don't mind mudding. Hanging, I'm not a fan of.
Seeing usually majority of people are the other way around to
Oh,
where
No,
it's the mudding part that takes the practice.
Right.
Hanging it's no different than laying the subfloor.
Yeah. You put all your rookies in the closets.
Yeah.
Start mudding. That's
Yeah.
what we always did.
Yeah.
That's how I
Yeah, that's
started.
pretty much how I learned.
Rookies start with first coat only.
Yeah.
I still try to avoid too much sanding.
If it takes you an hour to sand it off,
They're not ready.
No, and I mean technology, even with the sanders are
Yeah. The vacuum sanders.
yeah,
and
the
stuff.
vacuum sanders with the HEPA filters, and
yeah.
we run a Merca Laros. It's a German company. It's just top of the line, sander.
Yeah.
So,
Nice. Yeah, I've noticed. So you've done projects with me and for me before, and I've noticed that you guys, you keep really good tools.
Yep.
And you got a couple box trucks, or Jake, you drive a van
Yep.
that keeps them out of the weather and whatnot. That's
Yeah.
that's I don't know. I think that's like a big thing when you see a contractor that takes care of the tools and they reinvest in good tools, and not come in with the cheapest stuff
Yeah.
that fails or whatever.
yeah.
So like, yeah, they, bad carpenter always blames the tool, but there's some merit to that where, a good carpenter will have experience with a range of tools and know, you know,
You
what-
use better tools, you get a better product.
yeah, and you know how to spot quality in the tool
Yep.
to before you buy it or whatever.
It's a steadily changing industry, even when
Yeah.
it comes to technology and tools.
Yeah.
Also,
And then government
Like-
regulation.
yeah.
Well, I remember like from 2002 to 2007, there was just a huge boom of building going on,
Yep.
and I remember so many of the big names had so much put into R&D at that time. Like
Yep.
it just like revolutionized the quality of tools and you know what they can do with batteries and battery power and stuff.
Oh, it's insane. It's insane what's ran by batteries now.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't always beat compressed air. You know.
Right, pneumatic or
yeah.
even plugged in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we have battery ran trim guns and those items, but when you move on to finer trim crown molding and stuff, you have to run air. It's
Yeah,
just it's
little
not.
pinners and everything that
Yeah.
you need.
Yeah, you're not gonna run battery on that.
Yeah, it's always kind of, even I look at my shop, my mobile trailer, and I just think of, man, there's so many tools to do.
Yeah, but see,
Essentially the same thing. There's so many tools to fasten
Yeah.
wood, you know.
but that's a sweet trailer.
Thank you. Yeah, someday if I get a upgrade, I would be probably apt to sell it.
Yeah.
It's definitely got low miles on it now.
Yeah.
For the age. Yeah, it's more of a man town now. We
Hang
with
out, barely used.
it. Yeah. So how many full years you been in?
So April will be April 15th. Actually, will be
You're
10 years in business.
and then 25 as
I would say
somebody-
20. Yeah, 20 years. I've been doing.
playing with wood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, doing remodels. Repairs, those types of items.
Yeah.
So I flew under. I was blessed in a sense of when I decided to jump into the industry. I knew Max on construction out of Woodstock, and Chuck Jr. and Chuck Sr. They pretty much said, I had my name out there, but he said, "Come run under, our wing."
So like you were his sub.
Yeah, I pretty
that-
much
yeah.
subbed from him for like the first 8 months, when
Yeah.
I jumped out on my own. And he pretty much said to me, when your name is out there, and you have enough coming in, break away.
Yeah.
So it was sweet in that sense of, like, I wasn't really the first eight months, of our first year, I wasn't hunting, for work until my name got out there.
Yeah, I had a similar situation where shout out to Evan Sigfridson from Sigfridson
Yep.
Wood Products. I was working for one of their subs at one point, and then when I decided to go out on my own, it was fall,
Yep.
and he threw me work all through the first winter and into the next summer until I got going, and then got so busy that just like, once
You
in a while the schedules would meet up where I could do a project, but it wasn't like I was needing his feed the whole time. It was like you said, you finally kind of branch off. But
Yeah, and the
but-
calls start coming.
yeah, but I mean, my first year would have been super slow without Evan Sigfridson.
Yeah.
It was really awesome of him to, stick his faith and, not that, because he saw my work when I worked for Brett Krzyzewski as a post and beam.
Yep.
But,
He's still doing it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you just, when you go out on your own as someone who subs people out, you never know like how they're going to run their business, how well they're going to do with scheduling and whatnot.
And I didn't even know you worked for Brett.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was
Yeah.
kind of how I learned post and beam, because before that I was
He's
all
still
campaign.
throwing them together for Evan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I just seen him actually, I think last month at Lowe's, ran
Yeah.
into him. We sat and chatted for a while.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, before him, I had only really done conventional.
Yeah.
Woodwork, conventional framing, that kind of stuff, all residential.
We only have 2 of those under our belt, the post and beam. And
Yeah.
Evan was a big part of, one of them.
Yeah.
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 When
It's,
it came to the mortise and tendon tools.
Yeah.
and
yeah. There's a whole nother
It's a whole nother realm of
tools
equipment.
and
you know.
equipment, and
Yeah.
none of them are cheap.
No,
It's
no.
like, yeah.
No, that circular saw, that 16-inch blade or
Yeah,
whatever.
I got one
Yeah.
sitting right behind you under the lathe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like, I bought that only a couple of months in,
Yeah.
just because Evan was throwing me so much post and beam work. I was like, it's really worth it
Yeah.
to be able to cut right through a 6-inch by 6-inch post and not,
Throw a notch in it.
not have to do, cut all the way around it with the 7-inch skill saw and then use a handsaw for the middle. Like,
Yeah.
that gets old real quick.
Yeah.
So yeah. Where do you where's the like furthest out you've gone for a job? Like what's kind of like your
I mean,
radius or parameter?
there was a point when I was licensed in Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Mass.
Oh, okay.
But Massachusetts, I've kind of let fall for now. Like, obviously, I could go online, pay, renew.
Yeah, most states are just money, not really a class or anything.
Yeah, so Massachusetts, their home improvement contractor is pretty much provide, proof of insurance and, pay for the license.
Mhm.
Their general contractor is the full-on, test.
Right.
Rhode Island, I mean, I could have my Connecticut new home contractor's license, by payment. Rhode Island is actually where I held most credentials, at one point, because you pretty much in Rhode Island you have to obtain a representative, which is like an attorney to represent you.
Oh,
Go through the course, further education credits every 2 years. But even Rhode Island, currently I just don't have active because we haven't worked out there.
Yeah.
So the last 2 years, 2.5, 3 years, everything's mainly been Connecticut. So
Connecticut.
it's like, it's a cost. We don't advertise beyond, Facebook, which more recently over the last couple of years I've been terrible with, updating social media. It happens quarterly. I go through phases where I'm like, I'll throw jobs up,
Pictures up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll throw projects up,
Before and
you
afters and stuff.
one a day for 9 days straight, and then
And then
I don't revisit the social media page for another 3 months. But I mean I've gotten flack from a couple return customers. It looks like if they're asking who's doing our kitchen, and we say you, and if they go to your page it could look like you're closed. So for that customer, shout out to her, Sherry Harmon, Nutmeg Acres.
Oh, there you go.
But so for her, while we were doing her project, I was like, I'm gonna do one a day for 9 days. I'll put a job up, and that was the last time I put a job up before posting "Check us out" on Community Workbench.
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
the most recent post on the page.
Yeah, this will ride you, what, 6 months?
Yeah.
Add anything
We're
to
good
this?
for here. But I mean, we're blessed in the sense. I was talking with a guy. Some guys in the industry seem to be slowing down. Like, I've heard from a couple guys that, they don't, that it's slowing down. And it seems every time I talk to someone about it, like I joked on Friday, and I was like, the moment I talk about I haven't gotten a call or,
Yeah, your phone rings.
yeah, it's like instantly on Friday. And then, 2 jobs today, I got messages, and blessed that it's all 3 of them are return customers.
Yeah,
So the likelihood of getting the project
is pretty high.
is pretty
Yeah.
high.
Yeah, working
you
by
know.
referral is
So
really the best.
But so I mean, we can't complain. We stay pretty solid.
Mhm.
Generally we have like a 3.5-4 month lead time, depending on the size of the project.
Yeah.
Because we do book 2 years of scheduling in a year.
Yeah.
So, because we're 2 crews, so
Yeah.
we generally have 2 projects, open at a time.
Mm.
Usually it's me and my oldest son Noah, and Jake and Bub work together.
Yeah.
And they can, each crew can take the project from A to Z.
Nice.
Like we just did, we're wrapping up a garage. We did a 28 by 30 addition over in Killingly with a 2-bay garage and a small addition onto the house. And then the certain projects will jump on it, all of us at once
Right.
for the
Get
frame.
it framed up,
get it-
weathertight, and
yeah.
then
And then we'll break from there, and
yeah.
it'll be two guys on the property.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that works out good when you have versatile crews that can,
yeah, Pretty
jump in the
much.
middle or start A to Z,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And then, what's the future look like? You want to expand? You want to do more?
So expanding, I mean, we talk about it. We talk about it all the time. Like right now, we're on a project in Wellington, and so 2.5 years ago, when I started the business, I was in Brooklyn, and then the older boys were actually, we lived in Brooklyn, and the boys went to Woodstock Academy, so they were in sports, and it went from, the commute from,
Brooklyn
here
to
to the
Woodstock,
academy.
yeah.
It's not, a short commute. So we moved closer to the academy, and we lived in Pomfret,
Mhm.
for 6 years. 2.5 years ago, we bought our first home in Chaplin, and still all of our work, is out this way, Brooklyn, Killingly, Pomfret,
Oh, okay.
Woodstock. A lot of our work, because we don't advertise.
Yeah.
So all of our word of mouth and everything is this neck of the woods. But like we're in Ellington right now, and
Wellington.
yeah,
Willington.
Willington right now, and Jake said the other day we were driving, and he's like, "Can we get some jobs closer to our house?"
Yeah,
it's like
so everything's like 30,
30
35 minutes away.
I mean, 30, 35 minutes is
It's
not
not bad.
bad.
No.
'cause-
It's an
yeah.
average travel
But-
for
Yeah.
majority of people,
Yeah.
Right.
for work.
Compared to what we used to be, like living in Pomfret, everything was kind of
10, 15.
you're 10, 15.
Yeah.
Now it's 25 minutes to Lowe's every morning.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
or depending on where where we're going to. But manpower, is it's hard to come by guys.
Yeah.
When it comes to carpenters, if majority of them are already working.
Yeah.
If you're
Right.
a solid carpenter, you're already somewhere. So you got to start, like the boys, green, and you
Yeah.
train them. You get some individuals that, they. I guess every kitchen needs a dishwasher, but you only need so many dishwashers.
Are you finding that some of the labor that you hired don't advance themselves?
Yeah,
Kind of like they're
mean,
just always a laborer type
for-
of mindset?
Some, and I mean, it's like I've always told my boys, like, you can do anything, you know
Yeah.
what I mean, that you put your mind to when it
Mhm.
comes down to it. So, Noah and Jake, my kids have kind of came into it as a sponge, and they just soak it all up.
Yeah.
I do have, I mean, future is, hopefully Miles and TJ.
Right.
the
Right.
younger
Your other set of kids.
Yeah. my round two. I mean, I joke and I say, if I could get one of them to become a plumber and one of them to become an electrician, you know what I mean? Noah and Jake would have it made,
Right.
in the future when it comes to the company.
Yeah.
If they went and picked up, those trades and then came back to Home Improvements by Brandan Longe, we would be all in-house.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Which would be awesome. There is future too, like, Bub's got a son, like
Yeah.
that very well could be the future. So
Right, right, right.
I mean, as a friend, you see, I take them on the job.
Yeah,
As it is. 6 years old, 11 years old.
yeah.
That's kind of when these guys,
I
had
was
it
cutting
had it
tile at, like,
introduced to 'em.
12.
So I don't ever want to sway the little guys in, in the direction, but they see dad and the boys working to their brothers working together now.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
TJ at 6, I would say at least once a week, he says, Dad, can I go to work instead of school? But,
I needs the math.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
And both of them are very good in math. So,
yeah. And there's something to be said about family owned and operated, but also, that I've worked for husband and wife duos. I've worked for father and son, and then I've also worked for those dynamics where family members can't work for the
Yeah.
owner. And, there's something to be said about the fact that you guys literally live together and work together for a long period of time. I think you've moved out now, but
Yep.
but to be able to work together and live together and spend that much time together,
I mean, I don't like them that much.
it says something about it.
I mean, I had kids at a very young age, obviously, 22 and 23, but they're my best friends.
Yeah.
So it's different. And I do hear from some people like, oh, I could never work with my dad, and it's we got a job to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm probably not the easiest, when it comes down to it. Like, there are times where we gripe or,
Yeah.
but I expect quality. And,
Yeah, I mean, it's a little different too. I mean, your average boss, you can't give it back to him, and like, I mean, with him, I can give it back to him.
yeah.
If he wants to give me a hard time, I'll give him a hard time.
Right.
Yeah. So it's,
But you're out there doing your best, so
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
it's kind of it's all anybody can really ever expect, I guess, is your best. So
Yep.
if you're doing that, then the complaints have to go a little bit by the wayside,
Yeah.
or
And-
be taken with some levity,
Yep.
Do you, I mean, like there's other pockets that are like, like the coast. Would you take it, and do stuff on the coast? Have you done stuff on the coast? There's
So
usually stricter
yeah,
codes and stuff like
we
that too.
we have projects in, that we've completed in like South Kingston,
Yeah.
down by the water in Rhode Island. Nothing really Connecticut coast,
Okay.
have we hit. Generally, I've always said, like, we'll travel up to an hour,
Yeah.
but then you get into, paying, you got to pay guys, for travel. So right off the bat, you're telling the customer, if they really want you out there, that,
Yeah.
you have to pay for travel too,
Yeah.
to go out to those. So I mean, we generally will travel, within an hour,
Yeah.
of our
Nice.
location. So that puts out a pretty wide range
Oh yeah, for
you know,
sure. Yeah.
for us in this area.
Yeah.
But going back to like manpower, I mean, if you advertised, I say it all the time, if we advertised, or people ask me why I don't, and we just couldn't handle it, or our lead
Right.
time would be, we would get a phone call and our lead time would be, see you next year.
Right.
Does that work
Yeah.
for you?
Right. Right.
I mean, majority of times when I get a phone call, the first thing I'll ask is, when are you looking to have it done? Because if you think 2-3 weeks,
Right.
it's not us.
Yeah.
There's no point in me even coming out and looking at the project.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah, and it's good to be upfront and
Yeah.
get everybody's expectations out there on
We
from the
do-
get go.
we do a lot of kitchens, a lot of bathrooms, custom kitchens, custom bathrooms.
Yeah.
So right off of the bat, I mean, depending on the line of cabinetry, you're already anywhere between, 3 weeks and, you could be 2 months, even on
Just to
lead
get the
time.
cabinets
yeah,
there.
on lead
Yeah.
time from
Mm.
point of order on the cabinets. So
Right.
Matthews Brothers are running, 4 to 6 weeks right now on lead time
For Windows. Yeah.
for Windows. So,
Yeah.
some products work in the benefit, of scheduling anyways, because the lead time for those are out there.
Right, right.
So
Yeah, that makes sense. The how much time do you have to spend, like do you work a normal 40 and then do estimates and stuff like that? Are you
So
up
I'm
all
up-
night?
I'm up before all of these guys, pretty much. 5:30, 6 o'clock is generally, between 5 and 6. I'll get up when the house is quiet. The younger boys are asleep. That's when I get up and I crunch my numbers, type my proposals, and pretty much try to be out of the door by 7,
Yeah.
heading to a job site. Some people they're like, oh, you start at 8, but we work in a lot of lived-in homes,
Right, right.
so families are getting up, getting their kids ready. They don't want you in there at 7, 7:30, banging down the door.
Or 6:30 when I
Yeah.
show up.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then end of day, I generally try to do my quotes after 4 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that physically going there.
yeah,
and
physically
like-
going and looking at jobs. I try to book
Yeah.
them after 4 p.m.
Yeah,
'cause
it's
I'm-
always been a nights and weekend thing, and it's
Yeah.
tough to.
See, and I try to
away
avoid
from that.
weekends at all cost.
Yeah,
We will work sometimes if it's a push on a project and it's going to get us, to a better point for the following week, or even if it's going to bring a project to an end, we'll work a half a day on Saturday. When I first started, probably for the first 6 years, I would say, I advertised emergency work, and that I don't understand how some guys do it, like.
you advertise emergency. work.
Well, we
What's
would
that
do
like?
like if there was an emergency call or something,
Like a tree went
leak,
through a roof.
a leak, or
Yeah,
we're not even really the guys to call for that, because we have our customers.
Yeah, you have
you know,
your
that-
schedule set.
Yeah,
so far in advance.
I don't even know how some guys plow, that do what we do.
Right, and
because
they go
a
plow when
2-day
comes
storm-
in. Yeah,
Generally, on a snowstorm, we're, if anything, an hour delay. We're cleaning out our own properties, and then, we're getting to the job site.
right, right.
I guess some customers would be understanding about it, but if you have their kitchen or bathroom ripped apart, you know,
yeah, that's,
They're
they
less
generally want to,
understanding.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're less understanding.
yeah, yeah. And then I remember like playing the weather. Like, okay, storm's coming. This one needs the roof. We
I
gotta
mean-
finish the roof before we go do the kitchen demo. That kind of thing.
Don't get me wrong, this
Yeah.
winter I've been hoping for one that just cripples us for 3 days. Like you can't,
Nice little bait.
yeah, you can't, state of emergency, you can't leave your house. But we haven't gotten that storm.
Yeah, we haven't had a really. This has been the coldest winter
Yeah.
in 4 years.
No, it doesn't.
With
seem
3
like it.
years
There's no
prior,
reason
like we burnt half the wood that we burn in a normal year
Yeah.
in the last 3 years for our houses.
Yeah.
It's been warm, relatively warm winters.
I mean,
it's starting to warm up now.
yeah.
Seems like.
March always screws with me though. It's like one day it's 80, the next day
Oh, it was like Sunday,
cold
the
and windy.
low of 8.
Yeah.
But before that, it was 50 degrees.
Right, exactly. I feel like that's March. I kind of despise March as a month, except for St. Patrick's Day.
Shocking.
Yeah. Sure.
I noticed you do a lot of your own tile work as well. Do you ever sub that out or?
No, we don't sub out any of the tile work. We do a lot of custom tile showers, and pretty much installer wise. I mean, all of us pretty much can install tile. The main installers, are me and Jake, and
Yeah.
Bub and Noah can install tile, but they end up being a hell of a cut guy.
Yeah.
So, but we have, we run Schluter,
Yeah.
Schluter waterproofing systems. Technology again has just came so far.
Right. To changes the game.
Yeah, I mean, a memory came up yesterday, and it was a Schluter system from 7 years ago when you were still installing cement board and then putting the membrane, over everything. And now it's coming already membraned, in 4x8 sheets. So,
Oh wow. Okay.
you know, technology is pretty impressive when it comes down to, the waterproofing systems.
Yeah.
But
Which is good.
yeah,
Makes things more.
more streamlined.
Yeah.
you
More
know.
streamlined, more weather tight for longer.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
So
Yeah, I remember seeing even just the stages when I was there. Like it used to just be
mud pans.
mud bands and just mud behind the tile.
Yeah, that's
against
how-
cement board.
I mean, that's how I first learned was, copper pans and, mud pans inside of them.
Yeah, and then sealing afterwards. I'm sure you still seal them for.
You do, and
For-
then some of the newer grouts with the polymer additives, they're just bomb proof,
Wow.
So
Yeah, they're epoxy based rather than concrete.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So does that make installs quicker? Like you
no.
got to go before they.
washability sucks.
Yeah, it's a little
when
harder
you
to
do it.
wash, but I mean it's a better product.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I noticed you do a lot of tile and stuff.
Yeah, I mean I
so-
enjoy it. I'd say it's probably my favorite thing to do.
Oh yeah.
More,
more
yeah,
than-
it's a little more unique. I mean, there's so many tiles out there.
Yeah.
But like if you gave me the option between demo or tile, I'd pick tile.
Okay.
Not really.
Yeah,
like a-
demo.
yeah, well, I mean, I don't really like demo that much.
Right. Swinging a sledgehammer isn't as fun as it.
Well,
think-
it's just
as you might think.
there's finer things to it, and I'd rather make a nice, unique shower than rip one apart.
Right.
But
Yeah. Yeah, we all kind of find our little favorites, things to do, and then
Yeah, we don't do too many. I mean, I can't remember the last time that we installed like a fiberglass,
Okay.
bathtub and surround.
right,
When
right.
it comes down to it, a lot of the times, if we're ripping out a fiberglass unit, we may be putting in, a new fiberglass base, but it's a tile surround.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we just wrapped up Wolf. Makes like a composite stone. You install it by the sheet.
Oh wow.
Like a solid wall.
Yeah.
Composite stone.
what's what's that product that we did in Danielson? It's the Fox style you seen in Vegas.
Yeah. I can't even think of it right now. It's like a faux tile. It looks like tile, but it's not tile. It's like an interlocking system that actually glues up.
Okay. And that's another type of surround, like a.
Yeah, it's
surround.
another. It's kind of like a middle of the line product. Emily, who my wife, who we haven't brought up, me and her, Eastford sent us out to Vegas last year for the kitchen and bath show.
Eastford's awesome, aren't
they
they?
So many trips.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ray Bergeron is the man.
I've
Yeah.
yet to get one though.
Right.
I'd be able to go on one.
But he sent us out to the Kitchen and Bath Expo.
Right. Well, she designs
in
kitchens
Vegas.
for.
She designs
for
kitchens for
Eastford.
Eastford Building Supply,
Yeah. so-
which is kind of crazy. We never would have thought, 10 years ago when I was, getting into, like when I started the business, that now, I would be sending my customers, to my wife to have them design their kitchen
Yeah.
and installing, designs, that she's done, which it's been awesome.
Yeah.
It's-
That's great.
We just wrapped up one that she designed. We're wrapping up one right now, and we're opening up another one, in Woodstock that she designed.
So, I'll ask you: is there any rules of talking shop after hours? Is it? You guys have any of that?
No, I mean, we don't do it too much. If there is, something coming up, it could be like when did you schedule that template?
Yeah.
And she'll answer, but other than that, it's pretty
Straightforward. When
straightforward.
You get the
and,
print.
you know,
and
you
you get the cabinets
yeah.
and just go for it.
yeah. Here and there, we'll talk, but
some notification.
Oh, it's on that.
What's beeping in
We're
there?
still live and we're still
Yeah,
good, right?
yeah,
All right, good.
Would appear so.
Yeah. Jake, do you see like a spot where you want to like specialize in the future, or you want to do the whole general contracting and run the company?
I mean,
or-
I like to do everything, run the company.
yeah,
I mean, there's certain things I favor, but I like switching up and doing everything. Like,
yeah,
I couldn't, to each their own, but I couldn't sit behind like a desk all day and do the same job every day. Like, I enjoy the aspect of doing something different every day.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Sitting in front of screens is not for everybody.
no, I just, it's not me.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm pretty smart with computers, but like, if anything, I'd look into being an architect maybe in the future on the side, but
okay,
I don't really have any big
Yeah.
plans into doing that.
yeah,
Really, future, I'd like to get a couple rentals and kind of start that because
yeah,
I know everything if there was any repairs needed or any remodeling. So
yeah.
it's kind of
Well, if you need a realtor, I know
Yeah.
a guy.
Yeah, I know
saw
someone
that
too.
coming.
He's not here tonight.
Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it. Appreciate the shout out. Oh man. So the tile aspect and that technology is always changing. You must like suppliers are everywhere for tile, or is there like a,
So
a main?
I mean,
supplier?
I recommend customers, you know, to a couple locations to go shop for tile. One being Northeast, Kitchens and Flooring up in Putnam, and
Yeah.
then there's Tile America, in Manchester.
Yeah.
Generally, I guess we're probably different in that sense too, when it comes to, a contractor. Or there are a lot of items that are part of a project that I will not even include in my contract. And it's more the personalized items, the tile, the faucet, the sink,
So basically, the customer goes out, buys it, and
I mean,
provides
we
it.
don't have a problem picking it up,
Yeah.
for the customer if the customer places the order and they don't have the means to transport,
Yeah.
certain things. We don't have a problem picking it up and bringing it to the job site. But I try to avoid the, you have so much money to spend on this, and then,
Right,
they
getting
pick an
allowances and
item,
stuff.
and then in the end we're counting pennies. They spent more, so they owe me such and such, or they spent less and I owe them such and such. So
Right.
I try to leave a lot of those personal items, tile, faucets,
Fixtures. and-
fixtures,
yeah.
those items, to the customer. They take my price, their shopping, cart, and put the two together. And if it's within their budget, then, we can look to schedule to get it done,
Right. Right.
type
That's-
deal.
Pretty good way of doing it.
Yeah, it's for me, it's cleaner. It's it's customers. A lot of the customers, I've never had a customer have an issue with it. Or say, well, can you just give me a budget on it?
Right.
You can tell someone a ballpark, like you're probably looking at $2,000 overall for this stuff, depending on your choices.
Yeah.
But tile is like going to shop, for a car.
Yeah.
Do you want a Hyundai or do you want a Lambo?
Yeah, right.
Like the difference in tile cost are shower faucets, kitchen, vanity faucets, kitchen faucet.
Yeah.
You can go spend 110 or you can go spend 500.
Right.
Like
Easily.
you have to make the choice.
Yeah.
As the customer.
Right.
So,
What's the largest project you've ever done, square footage wise?
square
tile wise.
Yeah, we could do tile too, but I was just thinking like addition to the house.
1,300 square foot post and beam addition
Okay.
Wow.
was
1300.
probably, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Brooklyn didn't believe that it was an addition, but, but they
I'm
did.
sure they didn't.
But they did have to take it as an addition.
Yeah.
But Yeah.
When does
Sc-
it stop qualifying as an addition? When it's larger than the.
I don't
As long
think
as you
it
save
can.
one wall, I think
Yeah.
most towns.
Yeah,
Well,
as long as
if
you're,
you're adding
as
to
long
the
as you're
house.
adding to, an existing structure.
Yeah,
and
you
you're
don't know when people come into money. They could come in later in life or something. They're like, hey,
Yeah.
let's just add on to it.
But that
Right.
that post and beam in Brooklyn, was a 1,300 square foot addition.
Nice.
So, a lot of the projects that we're getting more recently, well, I mean, over the last year and a half, have been they're all pretty sizable when it comes down to it. The garage that we're wrapping up, that was roof 28 by 30 addition, siding of the existing house, installation of a load bearing beam, kitchen remodel, flooring wall to wall, all one location.
Right. So even if you're not adding more square footage, the complexity of the job makes it a bigger
Yeah,
job.
I mean, the one that we're doing in Wellington right now is we installed a recessed 22-foot load bearing beam, full kitchen remodel that Emily designed, flooring wall to wall replacement windows, throughout the house. Like, it's a sizable project.
Right.
It's not just it's not a bathroom, just a bathroom or just a kitchen.
Yeah.
And I mean, even the one that we're opening up in Woodstock is a full kitchen remodel, custom kitchen remodel, custom master bathroom, and then in their common bathroom, we're doing a custom tile shower.
Wow.
So, and those are month and a half, 2-month projects.
For sure.
You're sitting
Yeah.
there. So, we're definitely, and like I said, the moment I said the phone hasn't rang, I try not to panic about it, or I really don't. I would, because the moment I talk about it, it just seems like, the phone rings. So,
Yeah.
but
I know once in a, like actually Evan later in my career as a contractor, Evan came in with this custom bar that went in one of his barns.
Yeah.
It was like this big L-shaped bar and all this shelving behind it and everything. And I was just like, I was like, I'm a month out. He's like, I need you sooner than that. And I like took a weekend to do it because I was just like, it's such a cool project. It
yeah,
was
you got it.
horseshoe inlays
Yeah.
over the joints. There was a spline in the joint, and then there's horseshoe inlays on the top and stuff. It was just like a cool project. like,
Yeah,
you get
and I mean,
fired about.
I've told you before, like I don't doubt that I could do it.
Yeah.
If I took the time, but like the dovetail drawers and
Yeah.
that type of carpentry, it's it's a total different aspect. Like,
Yeah, and you got to have a setup for it.
Yeah.
For sure. And there's 1,000 ways to do a dovetail.
Yeah.
You got to pick your lane, which one you like, and then that doesn't always, whatever way you pick, sometimes it's super customizable.
Yep.
Sometimes it's not. Some of the jigs out there only do like this size dovetail with this size wood, and the less flexibility in the jig, the easier it is to set it up.
Yeah.
So that was like always that thing. And if you do hand cut, then you can do whatever you want, but it's, like you said, you like my shop, it was set up for stuff like
Yeah, it was set up to rip those out in someone's yard.
that.
And we're not equipped to do dovetails.
Yeah.
We'll call
But-
you. We'll have you come out of retirement if we need those.
It's but like most of when you order cabinetry, you're paying for that already in it. Most
Yeah.
of the drawers are either dovetailed or they have some sorts of other lap joint that
Soft
depending
close, all
on-
that fun
yeah,
stuff.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I leave that stuff to Emily. She can make sure that stuff's all there.
Right. Yeah, I did a lot of custom built-ins, and it was just kind of like where it went from there. It was, and I felt, you say a lot that you're blessed with the work coming in. That's how I felt too. It was-
Well, I mean, and even with since the newer Craig jig stuff, and
yeah.
even since you've been out of the game,
Oh yeah.
it's just it's
Yeah.
mind blowing.
Yeah, even because I talk a lot with my uncle who was a carpenter. Like he had retired from full-on contracting like 10 years before I even started with carpentry. So like he talks about like the new drills and stuff, and he's like, you know, this is like stops carpal tunnel, like the impact guns and stuff. He's like, this is, you could be 90 and still screwing stuff in and not have such a beating on your body kind of thing.
I just seen the other day because JLC, you know, is coming up, the tool show in Rhode Island, and they're coming out with like exoskeletons, you know, that clip onto, you know, they clip around the waist and they kind of strap around the
like
shoulders, and it takes the weight, it takes the strain of the body like totally out of the picture, you know, when it comes down to it, and it's like you're almost becoming
like
robotic, you know, in a sense. Like, but it's technology.
Is that company issued new belt?
Should be.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty cool that you guys go to all these different shows and you keep up on the technology and the products and the technology and the tools, and
we were just,
you know, that's a big thing.
This kitchen coming up in Woodstock, we haven't ran them yet, but they have you know, I'm probably telling some of our plans as a company of like what we're going to be changing to maybe, but like there's a company, Easy Levelers, for cabinets, for cabinet installs. And I mean, like Brunahan's in Woodstock has been putting self-adjustable legs on cabinets for years.
Oh, okay.
You know, when it comes, like you adjust them from inside the box, and you know, it takes the shims out of the picture.
Yeah.
There's a product that we haven't used that we intend on using in, you know, the very near future, that will take the shimming, you know, out of the picture.
Yeah.
And really, with anything, the foundation is, you know, the most important, you know, so especially when you're putting a big piece of stone down on top of, you know, cabinets.
Right, yeah, you put the granite countertops on, and you really just...
I'll have to shoot you a message, show you a picture, and let you know how they go.
Yeah, that's definitely, you do a video for your...
But there's a cost
them
associated with it, you know, when it comes down to it. So, you know, you're probably adding $300 to $500, you know, onto the cost of the project just in...
Yeah, but at some point the tool's paid for itself, right?
So these would have to be purchased.
Oh,
you know, for each
time.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it's a cost that the customer would be incurring, but it's also the customer getting a better quality product.
Right.
You know, when it comes.
There's a certain amount of compression that shims have, and if the weight's there long enough,
wood expands and contracts.
Right. Exactly. So. I'm assuming these are some sorts of metal, probably metal legs that.
Metal leg sets. They mount to the side panels of the
and
cabinets.
even though metal expands and contracts too, it's way less than wood.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty wild to see something like that with the. I'm sure it's just like a turnbuckle type of situation.
It's like isn't it like
it's like a
screw in,
it's like a rod screw in, screw out. You know, that drops a leg out of the bottom of the cabinet.
Nice.
So you kind of drill a porthole through the toe kick.
Yeah.
And then you adjust your back and your front, you know, right from the toe kick.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Makes it a little easier on install, but you're kind of spending the same amount of time on setup.
Yeah, we're curious. That's one thing we're
like
curious.
Time wise.
Yeah, to see how long it takes. With it, but I did so many jobs where the house was like 100 years old.
Yeah,
you know,
out of level.
Totally, it was nothing. Like, don't even bring the level in.
Yeah.
Like, or you're bringing the level in and you're scribing the crap out of the bottom of everything to match.
Just on Friday, me and him were doing crown molding in the kitchen in Wilmington, and you know, there's like 3 cabinet sections, you know, that are individual sections in the kitchen on uppers, and we got the first one done, we got the second one done, we started test fitting crown on the 3rd section, and we got to in front of the fridge, and went to put that piece up, and we were like, this isn't going. Like, so today we ended up having to skim out the ceiling because the ceiling was so
3 inches.
Good 3 inches.
Oh my goodness!
Just dove up.
Yeah,
like,
wow.
But we didn't even see it by eye, and it's an existing ceiling.
Yeah,
you know. Looking at the riser and everything up against the ceiling, you would have never seen it. But when we went to hold the piece of crown up,
right,
there was just a teeter in the middle that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't you can't scribe the trim
Right.
as bad as it was. So today we skimmed out. We did a
42-inch skim
42
blade.
inch skim blade.
Wow.
To try to skim
Fill
out
the
the
void.
ceiling to fill the void.
Yep. Those are fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which that's the stuff you don't think you're gonna encounter either.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, there's always unknowns.
Yeah.
There's always a little percentage of unknowns.
Yep.
on,
Yeah.
Like every job, and like you said, every kitchen's different.
yeah, and
every-
that's something we eat too as like a company. Like
Yeah.
it's not like we're not like mechanics where it's like, oh, we had to skim out your ceiling. That's gonna be
a back charge.
additional cost.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, and it's tough when you when you think about that. Like a lot of the different trades have their way of doing it, and it just always seems like carpentry is always eating stuff.
Yeah.
It's like when you've
The
seen
mechanic will get you for every bolt,
yeah,
you know, squirt of
like,
grease
yeah.
that they.
right. It is weird the kind of like the tolerance you have to have in profit.
Yeah.
Because you lost some profit today is basically what it comes down to, and there's a lot of trades that won't do that. It's a back charge or a change order and that kind of stuff. So kudos to you guys for keeping that tradition alive.
But do you miss it? Is the question.
So I miss woodworking in a warm setting.
no word. Yeah.
You step out. I was showing houses all day yesterday and a couple today, and I was just like, in the cold wind and stuff. I don't miss doing siding and trying to nail stuff.
I
on
mean,
when it's that
surprisingly,
cold.
we do all our outside work in the winter, pretty much.
Yeah, that's when it
Which
comes,
is-
or that's when you need the
Well,
filler of work.
We don't see it as that bad.
They like to say that. All of the guys will say that I put them outside. We do indoor, outdoor work year round.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
but-
well, winter, it's a little better for the winter as long as, like, you can bundle up and stay warm in the cold.
yeah,
In the hot, you can't cool down.
right. You can only wear.
I would
You
not.
could wear less, which we're not like a company to strip down and we're half naked on your
Right.
property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The weather is always a big thing. And I can remember doing siding, and I would there was times where you're like, oh, I wish it wasn't warming up, because then it starts, the ice on
Yeah.
the roof starts dripping on you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I wish it would stay below 30, and it's just, to me, it's like the difference in
Yeah.
the New England weather. Like we were talking about before, March is always just screws with you.
Yep.
Like,
It's
and,
warm one day, cold the next.
yeah, and and your vehicle starts piling up with extra sweatshirts. And
Yeah. Oh yeah.
suit
I
shoots
still.
and
I got.
stuff.
I got to clear them out of both.
It's not until like May or June you're like, all right, I'm gonna take these out. Better not get cold again.
Oh, even my personal vehicle during the winter, that thing doesn't get cleaned.
Yeah,
Ends up
Yeah.
like it's a spring
a
job.
whole nother dresser drawer.
Yeah.
in your back seat. Yeah, I get that. That's the part that I just don't miss, and I don't think there's really a way to avoid it.
No.
And the other thing I really like about real estate is you're working with more clients more frequently. Where
Yeah.
like you said, if you're on a job for 2 months, it's 2 months before you're meeting a new person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I love that part of real estate where you're
No, I mean,
Constant.
working with people is fun. Like, I mean, there's certain customers you're kind of more laid back with. Like, don't joke around as much. You can kind of read the person. But then there's some you can go joke around with, have a little fun, make a connection, and
right.
rather than just we're coming in, getting the work done, walking out.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
Yeah, every person is totally different, so
Yep.
you kind of cater to that. And
Yeah. We end up letting their dogs out. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? When they're gone. And, you know,
Yep.
all that fun stuff.
yeah, we always have those caveats in our showing instructions, like don't let the cat out, don't
Yeah.
let the dog out, that kind of stuff, or don't open the dog cage. I'm like,
Yeah.
who would ever open a dog cage? It's just like- but it happens. There are people that do it. No, let me play with the dog. Yeah, there's a lot. You're in other people's houses, so and everyone has their different way of wanting professionals in and out.
Yep.
Yep.
And different rules or different tolerances of what they'll take.
Yeah. I mean, there's some customers, I have rings of keys, from customers from 6-7 years ago, that they'll
Yeah.
call and they'll say, can you stop by and do this? And,
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
I know what key's theirs.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, I've had a couple of jobs like that where even if I said tomorrow, they would have a project. If I said I was doing it again, they would have a project for me tomorrow.
it's a very trust relationship.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, like,
Yeah.
you know,
And in the second a carpenter or a tradesman defies that trust, it's like it's instant deal breaker, and
Yeah.
that follows you forever. So I think, and
Yeah.
it's just like you treat everybody the way you want to be treated.
I had someone tell me, when I was getting into it, that like, it takes 7 years to build a good reputation. It takes a minute to ruin it.
Yeah, that's a good way of seeing that for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what do you guys think? Got anything else you want to talk about? Add to the conversation?
I think I don't even know what time it is.
I don't even know.
I don't know. I don't know either, but I really thank you guys for coming out and sharing. I know you don't like advertising.
This is definitely a little advertisement.
Wait till you get the millions of dollars.
Yeah.
of work.
It's not that we don't like advertising. It's
Yeah.
I try to do it, in moderation
Yeah.
when it comes down to it, because
No
I mean the
podcast
last thing I
next
want to
week.
do is tell someone no.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
you don't like turning away any work.
Right.
Um,
No, it's
But
like,
then
it
there's
hurts.
but then there's those, if they want you to do the project, then they'll wait.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, if they can.
yeah,
Yeah.
if they can.
Right.
So
Yeah. Well, I mean, really, thanks for coming out.
I
and
appreciate
sharing,
it.
and thanks for all
We
the
kept it PG.
the work.
That was a worry. I don't
We're not
think
off
any of
yet.
us-
Hold on. No, it's really cool to get to know different carpenters and the way they did it versus the way I did it, and I really hope that down the line, like there's more like high schoolers tuning in to this kind of thing,
Yeah.
because it gives a big
Yeah. Trades are a dying breed.
right, exactly.
They are across
And-
the board.
and
you know,
there's
like
and it's great to hear, like Jake said, there's stuff that you're going to favor, and there's stuff that's you just grit your teeth and do it,
Yeah,
or you become a
exactly.
realtor,
The easy way out.
the Matt Noren way.
I like that.
I don't think it was a compliment.
I take it all as a compliment. Thanks for watching, everybody. The Community Workbench families are having their annual Spread the Love campaign. Please donate what you can when you can. These late winter months are the hardest for local pantries and food shares to keep their shelves stocked. So please keep them in mind and try to spread the love. Even the cost of a coffee can go a long way at these places. Join us again next Monday at 6, March 10th, when we talk to Christina from Quiet Corner Speech and Language. They are a private practice offering speech, language, and communication therapy to children and adolescents. Their number is 860-821-0460. We'll see you on Monday. As always, buy local, hire local, dine local, volunteer local, and hire those carpenters locally. Have great days, everybody.